Fantastic. So, what has been your experience in the past with animal rights activists' extreme misbehavior?
Uh, you know, you the animal rights groups and organizations out there love to intimidate you. They love to bully you. Uh, March 26th of 2014, they actually crawled in this facility and blew up our alligator facility in our studio, burning it to the ground, killing all the animals inside. We've had PETA employees caught in the act on videotape, admitting it to the FBI. They were hired to come in here and steal our computer archive. Uh, the worst thing that you can't combat is the internet, and that is the fake videos that are way out of context and put online to suck on people's heartstrings and raise money for themselves. But probably one of the worst and most dangerous things about them doing that is they put that out there and then they boost the post and everything else to market their propaganda, preying on the mentally disturbed to carry out their crimes for them. Last year we had a guy drive 2 hours down here that was off of his medication, broke into the zoo, tried to let the tigers out, tried to kill himself, all because of a video that he saw online. And this is the stuff that should fall under the Federal Animal Terrorism Act of causing economic loss to a business and an industry over $10,000. And once again, until we wake up some politicians and we get the people of this world to start going down to your local shelter and giving you money away there so you can see where it's going and what it's doing to help animals, instead of giving it away to people on the internet that you have no clue what they're doing with your money. All you have to do is look up on their websites, their board of directors, and then do a Google search of their property where they live. And you can look at almost every one of them live in $1,000,000 houses while their animals are living in cramped up quarters in crates. And we call that animal rights. I don't even call it animal welfare. So there's a lot to be done in this industry to combat the outrageous things that animal rights groups do.
Okay, hold on a second, Jim. Really bad glare in your sunglasses. I'm going to try to just look straight ahead for me. Keep your glasses on. You're fine. It's just that when you look at me, I get a big, round, bright thing in your glasses, and I don't think we're going to be able to avoid it. Okay, next question. Were you ever verbally or physically assaulted by them or any of these groups?
As far as being verbally or physically threatened or assaulted by animal rights organizations, I used to tour for 9 years doing magic with animals, and I have had it all happen. I have been physically punched after getting off stage. I have had my vehicles vandalized on tour and at this facility, and spray painted, different things thrown at you, eggs and whatnot, protesters, you name it. I have seen it. This is the craziest industry in the entire business world that anybody can be involved in. But the craziest part about protesters and people that do this, because you never see Wayne Pacelli out there, you never see Ingrid Newkirk out there holding up signs or protesting. They put this all online, and they hope that other people that are not as educated about the situation or anything else go out and do this. And one of the funniest things that I ever encountered was a huge protest in Iowa City, Iowa. And they're holding up signs that I should be caged. They're holding up signs that I murder animals. And every one of them running in and out of McDonald's getting a burger to eat while they're protesting, And they don't even put any thought behind the cow that they just ate that was butchered for that burger while they're protesting. Me educating people with tigers and other animals.
Okay, so is that the main story you want to highlight as far as the abuse goes, or do you have any others?
Well, other than them coming in and poisoning our animals and burning down our stuff and stealing computers, I've really never been confronted other than on tour. Um, the worst thing that I think happens in this industry is the belief that PETA puts out there that they're better off humanely euthanized or put to sleep than they are put in a cage. The animals that we house at our facility didn't ask to be put in a cage, so we make their lives as comfortable as we can inside a cage, but they don't deserve someone crawling the fence in the middle of the night and poisoning them so they die. And I'm talking about, my chimpanzees a little over a year ago that were poisoned. They didn't deserve that. The alligators and other animals that burned alive inside the studio didn't deserve that. And I don't see how anyone could consider that to be looking out for animals, is to poison and burn alive living animals.
It's terrible. So what would you like to see accomplished in the near future regarding laws that help cover these policies?
Well, the first thing that we have to do is we have to get our, in order to straighten some of this out and change some of the laws to where it actually benefits animals instead of benefits the people that are pocketing the money from 501c3s and different organizations, we have to get our politicians on board to understand that a nonprofit status to raise money under false pretenses and spend that money on other things other than the care and the welfare of animals. I would, I'm one of the biggest animal advocates in the country, but I'm also one of the biggest advocates of you are a government entity and you are receiving a tax break to raise money for the sole purpose of the care for animals. And that money should be spent on the care of animals. It shouldn't be spent on marketing to raise more money. It shouldn't be spent on property. It shouldn't be spent on your house. It shouldn't be spent on your cars. It should be spent on the cages and the care and the feed and the veterinarian work of caring for animals. And until we get the government to make the IRS do their job and start auditing some of these facilities and nonprofit foundations, it's never going to change. Right now, I could show you more proof of money being laundered with a big cat facility out of Florida. And I'm talking to the tune of $4.5 million a year. And $250,000 that is being issued to family members as salaries. Okay, because in the nonprofit world, if you're 501c3, you're only allowed to donate 5% of your income for lobbying. Okay, so what they're doing is they're writing themselves paychecks, okay, which turns that money into private income. And then they're turning around and they're writing $10,000 and $30,000, $50,000 checks to animal rights organizations like the Humane Society of the United States and to political campaigns. And then the Humane Society of the United States and Humane USA and Humane PAC and all of those are turning around and buying politicians with that. So in my eyes, that is no better and no different than laundering nonprofit tax money. And it's got to be stopped. That loophole has to be closed. And the only way I see it ever being closed is severe audits or just abolish the 501c3 status. But it's a gigantic problem out here. And there's so much money being wasted that's being raised on animals that ain't being used on animals.